The reduction of the survey data collector file can be handled either under the survey menu or using the survey reductions flyout menu. To use this menu, you hold the left button down and keep the left button held down as you move out through the options. By pausing on an option, you'll see a data tooltip just below the icon. Data can be read directly from an instrument via a PC, MCIA, SD or USB device, or via some other method such as Bluetooth. For the example we're going to use, we need to firstly set up our data collector. To do this, we click on Survey, Setup. If you click on the arrow down button next to Data Collector, you can see a wide variety of data collectors that are handled by 12D. The one we're going to be using is a Leica format, so we select Leica GSI 12D, Codes Before Measurements. We then click Select, Set, then Finish. The GSI file that we are going to reduce has already been copied to the training area. So to convert it to a field file, we use the option Survey, Convert Raw. We need to locate the file by going Browse and going back up to Getting Started, and you'll see a file there, detailsurvey.gsi. So double click on the file. You'll see that it's going to create a field file with the same name, and click Convert. It's a good idea to go down to the output window just to ensure there are no errors during the conversion. We can then click Finish. Once the raw file has been converted to a field file, we now reduce the field file using the Survey Data Reduction function. This is done by selecting Survey, Create, Reduction from Field File, or we could have used the Survey Reduction toolbar and go on to the icon that says Reduce Field File. In the function, we firstly note that the field file has been inserted into the Field File tab. We'll give the function name the same name as the field file. So we're simply going to copy and paste the field file name up into the function. Also paste it for the report file as well. The default model will be unknown. We type this in lowercase to ensure that the model is at the bottom of the listing. We click on the Map File tab and click on the folder icon next to Map File, walk right on User Lib and select Detail Survey V10. We go to the Advanced tab and we're going to pick a control model, Serve Station. So that's the model of the data that you can see on the screen at the moment. So the reduction will use the control model if it finds a point number that matches the control model. Otherwise it will just look for the coordinates inside the data collector file itself. If we go to the Geodetics tab, this data requires a projection, so we click on the arrow down button and select MGA 94 Zone 56. We now go to the Others tab, and in this tab we're going to explode point strings, ensuring that any points will be a single point string. We tick on Show Check Measurements, and we'll set the backside prompt mode to prompt. By selecting prompt, it will enable the backside information to be shown on the screen at the time of the reduction, and we then have the option whether we want to swing onto the backside point. We'll now click Reduce. The first backside prompt comes up showing us the observed information, what was calculated from the control model, and we have the ability here to apply a swing or other options. Now generally when you process a detail survey for the first time, you always click on Yes to apply the swing. Yes to all is only done if you are re-reducing the survey, and generally you wouldn't use No or No to all. Clicking edit would only be done if say the backsite name was incorrect. You could then click edit and type in the correct number. Cancel is only used if you want to stop the reduction at this point. Say for example you've started to reduce the wrong file. So we just click yes. We then have a check shot up to 905. This is for your information. We click continue. A check shot back to 902, which was our backsite. Continue. We now set up at 902. Backsite to 901. Yes to apply the swing. Check up to 906. Continue. And check back to 901. Again we click continue. Once the survey has been reduced, we always check the report file before we go any further. Click on the folder icon next to report file and select open. This will open up the report file in whatever the default is for that file extension. Generally you'll find it's something like WordPad or Notepad. In this case it's Ultra Edit. Now what we're mainly interested here is any incorrect codes. So if we go right to the bottom of the file, and you'll see we have an unknown code TBK. This was typed in manually instead of picking from a list, and this has to be changed during the field file editing. If we exit out of the report file now, we can turn on our data. So if we go to the plus button and drag down all of the model names including unknown and click select. Once we've seen the data on the screen, we can then finish on the survey reduction panel. First thing we're going to do is add some extra text to the screen, and then we'll set up the defaults for the zooming in and out. So we click on the toggle button, click on Z values, and again click on the toggle button and click on string names. Now you'll see the text is quite busy here. If we were to zoom in next to the dam on the left side here, we're just going to zoom into an area where the text is fairly easy to read. We're now going to set up the defaults for when the text is going to appear. If you click on the menu button, walk right on settings and click on Z values. This panel lets you set up anything you could possibly want to do with the text values. All we're going to do is click on size max. That will then calculate the height of the text and click set. What it's done now is told 12D that as soon as the text gets bigger than 0.536 meters in ground units, it will turn off. So if I click on the screen and zoom out slightly, you'll see the text disappears, and it will reappear once you've zoomed in close enough so that the text appears bigger than that maximum height. Right, we'll finish on that panel, and we're going to do the same for the names. Again we click size max set. Always test it before you do anything else, so click on the screen, zoom out, and now you'll see that both the name and the Z values disappear. Finish on that panel. Usually it will zoom out a bit further for the point numbers. So menu, settings, point vertex IDs, size max set. If you zoom out now, you'll see that you don't see any text until you zoom in a bit closer. Then you'll see the text, the point IDs appear, and as you go in closer, you'll then see the other information appear. Right, we'll click finish on this panel. We'll now look at some very powerful options within 12D where we can dynamically edit the field file data and have the graphical data update. Firstly, we're going to pin up a toolbar which will assist us in our field file editing. Select View Toolbars and select Extra Survey Reduction and click Finish. Move the toolbar slowly up into the docking area and just place it about here. Next thing we're going to do is to put our graphics over on the right hand side, and the easiest way to do this is click Window, tile vertical. Even though we don't have two views, it now lets us access the left hand side of the view. So if we hold the left button down and just resize the view about halfway across, we can now open the field file editor. To do this, we use the icon Open Field File Editor, pick the function Detail Survey and click Edit. This can be placed over on the left, just resized. And just a note here that if you did select Window Tile Vertical, this editor is not classified as a view, so just manually place it. What we have now is a dynamic link between the field file editor and the graphics. If you click on one of the readings, you'll see a vector line from the station to the actual reading. The lines can be edited by either double clicking on the line and changing the values, or by using one of the field file edit options in this toolbar, or thirdly by inserting a new command. If you were looking at the graphics and you wanted to locate that point over in the editor, you can use the Find by Pick icon, pick and accept on the point, and it will then highlight the relevant line over in the editor. The first thing we're going to edit is to find and replace the code TBK that we saw earlier. So if we just go back up to the top of the file, just click on the first line and then select the icon Find Replace. The old code was TBK and the correct code was supposed to be TBL, top of bank left. We then click Find, and you'll notice that the graphics is now panned to a particular point, and if you zoom out you'll notice that this white string seems out of place. The reason it is white is the CAD control area had white as its default color. So whatever color you have as your default up here will be the color of the string. This string is in the unknown model. If you were to go F2 for string inquire, left click on the string, and you'll notice in the information panel that the model name is unknown. It's very important when you're doing this editing, and if you are picking on things, always finish the option, or if you are inquiring, click on finish. Because once you have inquired on an option and it is highlighted, it is locked. Each of these points has a dynamic link back to the function, and if the function tries to re-reduce the data, it won't be able to. So what we're going to do up here is we're going to click Replace, and you'll see the screen flashes as it re-reduces. So it's already reduced the first one. Click Replace again. It's now updated that one. There is another way of doing this if you have quite long strings to do rather than clicking Replace all the time. Let's finish that option. And there's an icon called Change Code. So in this one here we can simply type in what the code is supposed to be, click on All Points on String, and pick on one of the points and accept. You'll see now that it has changed the whole of the string. Over on the left, also note that the lines are magenta, which is a color audit trail to say that you've changed the line. Another common error in surveys is a target height error. For this one here we're going to find a particular point which is 1044. To do this we can click on the Find by Pick icon, and we simply type in the point number 1044, press enter once and it will pan across to that point, and press enter again and it will now show that point in the field file editor. Prior to point 1043 the target height was put up to 2.1, but it was supposed to have been put down after 1043 and that hasn't happened, so all of these points are basically 0.5 of a meter too low. So what we're going to do is insert a target height before 1044. To do this we use the insert target height icon. We click pick to pick the first point that is wrong, which is 1044. We then type in the correct target height, which is 1.6, and click set. Again, the screen flashes as it re-reduces, and if you just move your cursor to one of the other points, you'll see now that a new line has been put in with the new target height, and the audit trail this time is blue, that something's been added in. Once we've satisfied that the target height has changed, we can finish on that option. There are some other options that can sometimes be just as easily done graphically, but we'll have a look at the field file edit ones as well. We have the option to reverse a string. This string is pointing the wrong way. So to reverse a string, we can use the option Survey, Edit, Stringing, Reverse, and simply pick and accept on the string. As we still had the previous point highlighted, it automatically pans back to that, and that's because we have the pan icon ticked. If you click the previous button in the plan view, it should take us back to this one here. So it's generally a good idea to actually move to that point in the file here first before you do some of these other options. Right, we'll finish on the reverse string. Another problem we have to sort out, if we zoom out and zoom up to the top right, is we have a zigzag in a string here. So the string going from point 2356 went to 2357 there. At that point we realized we'd gone too far, and we then came back, took a point at the correct position, and then continued on. So this is fairly easily fixed in 12D. So let's pick that point. So click Find by Pick, and let's pick 2358. So that at least focuses the field file editor in this area here. So to reorder the string, we're going to use an option here, and it's called Reorder by Points. What we do is we click Pick, and we pick the first point that is correct, and then we pick the next point that should be the next one in the order. 12D will then re-reduce, putting it in the correct order. If in the field file editor you want to delete a point, you maybe have two points very close together and you want to remove one of those points, what we do is we find the point by clicking Find by Pick, pick one of the points and accept, and then over on the left we click on the red X. When you do this, 12D will then go through the prompts for your backsights and check measurements. If you are happy that the only thing you've deleted is just an intermediate point, you can click Yes to all and Continue all. You'll notice now that the point has disappeared. There is now a red X on the measurement. If you wanted to restore that point, you could simply click X again and it would bring it back into the graphics. To find things in the field file, as well as being able to type in a point number, we have the option with the Find icon. Here we can pick all sorts of things. We may be picking on something where there was an arc, so arc fitting start. We could click Find, and it's actually found a start of an arc at point 2184. We can then find, say, something where the string is closed. String close. Click Find again, and here's the command close string, and there's a head wall where the string is closed. If you want to move to one of the other tabs, you have to remove the command from the previous one. Under State, you can check anything that's been changed. So click Find, and it will go down and find the next string that's been changed. Find, find, find. So it'll keep moving through the changed data. Anything that's been added, such as the height of target, click Find, and there it found the height of target. If you wanted to manually edit a point, say if we find point 1456 and we wanted to change that point, we could simply double click on the line and the measurement panel comes up. We could change the horizontal angle, vertical angle, slope, distance, code, and so on. So in this case we might just change it to, say, SV for stop valve. Click OK, and you'll see now that it's turned it into a stop valve. If we wanted to change it back, or if we move our cursor off that point, you'll see now it's highlighted magenta. If you wanted to reset the point, just double click back on the line, click reset, then finish, and you'll see that it's taken out the highlight as well as reverted back to the original code. Inserting a command can be done over in the field file editor. If we went to before the first backsite line, if we had a fairly old instrument and it had a vertical collimation error, we could click on the line that you want to insert the command before, click on the insert icon, and you could select the command. So in this case we'll pick vertical circle correction, click create, and we could type in a vertical circle correction of say 20 seconds and click OK. What would happen there is all of the vertical circle readings would then have 20 seconds added to them. Okay, if you have done this, we'll just remove that command. Once all the reduction has been performed, it's a good idea to check the report file before we actually exit out of the field file editor. So to check the report file, you can click on the print report icon, click on the icon next to file to edit, and double click on detailsurvey.rpt and click edit. This will then bring the report file back up again in the text editor, and we're just going to scroll down to the bottom, just ensure there's no codes. Then you can also have a bit of a look at the way the file is structured. You can see that you have your backsite information, you have your check measurement information, and then your normal readings. If we hit X to get out of the notepad, we can finish on the editor panel. We can click finish on the field file editor, and this is very important. We need to lock the function from being reprocessed. So click on the function icon, detail survey, tick on lock mode and click set, finish. That ensures that we can't accidentally rerun the function. To check this, in the recalc panel, if you walk right on recalc and double click on detail survey, your output window should be flashing, and it has a warning: function detail survey is locked against recalc. Right, we can now maximize plan view 1, and we'll just pop our recalc panel back down the bottom right.